Hello, I'm quite excited to have you here. So this is going to be a series of teaching, and so I'm going to make some long, short videos to explain some concepts in mathematics, and for those just getting into the senior secondary school from the SS1. So some of the topics are going to be covered, and I just want you to stay calm and just watch. It's very easy. Like most of the topics in SS1 are very, very easy. They're just introductory topics to mathematics for senior secondary. So the first topic I'll be looking at is indices. Okay. So indices. I think in GSS2, a little introduction was given to this topic, indices. So indices is just a way of representing number. Yeah, just a way of representing number. Maybe large number you could just compress into something simplified for people to for one to easily write. For example, if I write something like this, maybe I write a large chunk of number. I can actually represent the number in index form, and that's why indices is very important for us to look at. Okay, so just know that it's just a way of compressing large chunk of number. Okay, so let's look at these indices. Now, when we're talking about indices, we want to talk about the laws of indices, okay? And these are laws you always need to have at your fingertips, all right? Because it's going to help you all through when you're solving questions that has to do with, indices. All right. So stay calm and let's delve into what we have for now. So we're going to look at, first of all, the laws of indices, the laws of indices. They are not so much, but let's look at them one after the other. So the laws of indices are, so I'm going to state the law one after the other. So one, we have the multiplication law, multiplication law, multiplication law. And in the multiplication law, it's simple. When you have a exponent m multiplied by a exponent n, this is equal to a exponent m plus n. Okay, provided that, yeah, you need to also note that a is called the base, while m is called the exponent or the index or the power, right? So you could decide to call it whatever name you want. So this a is the base, m is the power or the index or the exponent. So I will be using I will be using any of the three intermittently, okay? So we're still talking about the same thing. So A is the base, M is the power. Okay, so now the rule for multiplication is provided that the base, the base here are the same, so you can use this. This law applies. So, but if the bases are not the same, this law cannot hold. Very important. So that means if you want to apply this law, you have to ensure that the base here is A and the base here is A. The power can be different, okay? Can be the same or can be different, but the base must be the same. Otherwise, the law will not hold. Okay, so let's see how we can apply this in question. So I'm going to state the law, then apply the law. State the law, apply the law. All right. So let's look at some questions. Okay. So the first question we'll be looking at now is this. Let's say two. Let's say this is question one. So 2 index 5 multiplied by 2 index 3. Okay, now you can see that the base is the same. But as we progress, sometimes the base might not be the same, but you have to do it in such a way that the base must be the same. So when we get to that part, I will let you guys know. So 2 index 5 multiplied by 2 index 3. So this is the first question. And how do we solve this? It's very simple. So all you need to do is just to say this is equal to 2. The base is 2, so the same. So you just write 2 here, and then the powers, we have 5, then plus 3. This is actually very easy. So this is now going to be 2 index 8. Very simple. 2 index 8. Very easy. So let's look at a second question, excuse me, under this law. So we have question 2. So 3 index 9 multiplied by 3 index y. Okay, so this is going to give us something like 3 index 9 plus y. 3 index 9 plus y. So 3 index 9 plus y is 3 index 9 plus y. That's all. All right. So this is how to apply this first law. Okay. So we have the second law of indices. Second law of indices, we have, it's called the division law. Division law. Okay. The division law. So now division law, as the name implies, that means you're going to have something like A index M, okay, divided by A index N. So A index M divided by A index N is equal to A index M minus N. Very easy. Okay, so how do we apply this law? So application. Okay, so we want to apply this law. This is going to be our third question, question 3. So applying this law, we can say 5 index 3 minus, sorry, divided, not minus, divided by 5 index 2. Okay, how do we solve this? This is very easy. So you just say 5 index 3 minus 2 because it's division. So this is going to be 5 index 1, and 5 index 1 is equal to 5 because any number index 1 is that number. All right, so let's look at another question. So question 4, we have this to be 2 index 9 divided by 2 index 5. So this is equal to 2 index 9, okay, minus 5. And 2 index 9 minus 5 is going to be 2 index 4. And this is the final answer. Okay, so this is the second law, and this is how it works. Then let's look at the third law. So this is the second division law. Let's look at the third law. So the third law is, okay, the third law is A raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So what it means is that any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. So you can just say the 0 power law, whatever name you want to call it, 0 power law. Okay. The name is not so important. It's just for you to know what you're doing. 0 power law. Okay. So any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. So that means if you have 10 raised to the power of 0, this is equal to 1. 100 raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So any number raised to the power of 0 is always equal to 1. Okay, so I'm going to look at another law. So I'm just going to treat like 4 laws here in this particular video. Then the next video, I'm going to do the other laws. Okay, so 4, we are looking at the reciprocal law. Reciprocal law. Okay, and what is it? It's very easy. So you have A raised to the power of minus M is equal to 1 over A index M. Yeah, very easy. Reciprocal. So application. Let's try to apply this law. So if you're given a question like this, so this is going to be, where do we stop? I think we stop at question 4. So let's see question 5. You are asked to, do this 2 index minus 3. So 2 index minus 3 is equal to 1 over 2 index 3. Simple. That's it. So if you want to take it down, it's going to be 1 over 8. But most times you should try to always leave your answer in index form. Okay. So if you have 3 index minus 5, this is going to be 1 over 3 index 5. Very simple. Okay, so I wouldn't want the video to be too long, so I'm going to stop here. Rule number 4. So a recap of what we've done so far. So we're looking at the laws of indices. So the first law is called the multiplication law. So which is a raised to the power of m multiplied by a raised to the power of n is equal to a raised to the power of n plus n. And this is the application of the law. So you must ensure that the bases are the same. The powers may not necessarily be the same, okay? Then we have the division law. So we have a raised to the power of m divided by a raised to the power of n to be equal to a raised to the power of n minus n. Then, of course, the application, very easy. Okay, then we have the zero power law, which states that any number raised to the power of 0 is always equal to 1. So take note of that. We have the reciprocal law. So a raised to the power of negative m is equal to 1 over a raised to the power of m. So I want you to always take note of these. So in indices, when you look at multiplication yields addition, okay? A division yields subtraction. Always take note of that, yeah? Division yields subtraction. Okay, so see you in the next video. Bye.